Hi, welcome aboard. Last September there was much excitement at the Brisbane Boat Show over the release of a brand new model from Haines Signature. Now, the excitement was due to the fact that, firstly, it's not often that a manufacturer who has an extremely successful range in the marketplace goes to the trouble of creating an entirely new boat from scratch. And secondly, it was because this was the largest boat that had been designed and built by Haines for the general market. It's the Signature 850, and it came up with a degree of innovation which we had only up until that time seen from one or two manufacturers. In fact, I have to say that that innovation was exceeded by Haines in some very subtle ways. Firstly, the boat is a day cruiser of a genre which we've only seen over the last 5 or 6 years in this country, which is very popular overseas, and which, because of its overall practicality, its efficient usage of internal and external space, has become very popular, logically, because it really is a great layout. Now, the first boat that John built, we looked at in some detail around about October last year. It was fitted with 2 V8 Mercruiser stern drives. But the basic design philosophy of the boat was that it could be fitted with a single engine installation, giving tremendous economies not only during purchase but also during operation and running costs on the ongoing ownership of the boat. And that was unusual because it was the first of this type of boat which had offered that true single engine option which had been designed into the overall concept from day one. Now, the reason that there were 2 V8s in the first boat, which you're looking at now, was because John wanted as much power as he could squeeze into it so that he could do what he usually does with a new model and endeavour to destroy it. He took it to the Whitsundays, he thrashed it around the Whitsundays full throttle, toured all the islands, he ran backwards and forwards across Moreton Bay in the worst weather he could find, and boy, you can find some bad weather in Moreton Bay at certain times, and generally he did everything that he could to the boat to detect small problems. Now, nobody is suggesting that John expected the boat to fall apart. That would be ridiculous. It's built not to. But when you have a fairly complex boat, which is fairly open inside, and fiberglass boats lend themselves to being open all the way through with very few bulkheads and that sort of thing, it is possible to find that you have fittings falling off and that sort of thing. So John went through all that and found all of the minor areas of problems, and there were very few of them, and has fixed them up. Now, the other aspect of this boat, as I've just mentioned, these boats are very open. You can utilise virtually 100% of the interior volume. One of John's philosophies is that over many years he's found that people generally like an interior layout which suits them personally, and an interior layout that suits someone may be totally unacceptable to somebody else. So a basic design philosophy is that these boats are available with alternate interior layouts from the factory. It's not as if you're just given whatever is made by the factory and you do the best you can with it. You can order through a Signature dealer anywhere in Australia a particular interior layout. Now, the original boat had its galley and all of its interior accommodation and creature comforts fitted down in the cabin. An excellent layout, extremely attractive, plenty of room, plenty of sleeping accommodation particularly. But as an alternative, John decided to utilise some of the exterior room and move the galley and the cooking facilities out of the cabin, thereby expanding the amount of lounging space down there, taking the cooking smells out of the cabin, and effectively making it what amounts to a conversation pit, particularly if you find that you're out on a rainy day. Very cosy to sit down there and have a talk. So this boat really is, I guess you could say, the first true production model. The original layout will be available with whatever variations are required, as will this layout be available with whatever variations are required. The single engine installation is particularly interesting. With a V8 Mercruiser in the back there, you get 38 miles an hour, which is as fast as anybody would ever want to go in a boat such as this. You could go to a single diesel installation, probably reduce your top speed down to 30 or 32 miles an hour, but get amazing economies. Now, that gives somebody who wishes to own a boat of this type, this layout, and this genre, if you like, a tremendous amount of flexibility in the way in which they power and drive it, and the amount of money that it costs them both to purchase and to run in the long term. By the way, another minor addition to this boat was a newly moulded Marlin swim platform on the after end of the boat, which further extends the overall usable space in the cockpit itself.
just getting back to a couple of points we looked at a little earlier, you noticed Colin taking a table down from underneath the deckhead on the port side. That table is made so that the leg, which is a single pedestal type leg, can be fitted either in the cockpit or down inside the cabin. So, and when it's not in use, it's completely out of the way. So you're not tripping over it or trying to find somewhere to stow it. There's a proper niche made for it, and it's screwed into there when the boat is underway and when you're not using the table. A few more words about the alternatives for powering this boat. With two V8s, obviously, it's a rocket. It will do close to 50 miles an hour. Its rough water performance allows it to maintain those sorts of speeds in quite choppy conditions, and you'd certainly cover ground very, very quickly. However, you would use quite a lot of fuel. A single V8 obviously gives you a degree of performance which matches the capabilities of the hull and the requirements of the average owner for pretty well everything he'd be likely to do, and gives you, as we said, a top speed of 38 miles an hour. A single diesel installation completely changes the character of the boat. Because of her overall size and her hull performance capabilities, she'd be an excellent fast offshore cruiser. In other words, if you wish to make a coastal cruise from, say, Sydney to the Gold Coast or the Gold Coast to the Whitsundays, that's the way in which you would power the boat. You would expect to have a degree of range which would stand her alongside the largest and most capable of the offshore game fishing boats, and you'd be able to do it at a speed, as I said, because of the hull performance, which made her a viable long-distance coastal cruising boat. So you can change the character of this boat not only from the point of view of the overall interior layout, but also, equally importantly, from the point of view of the basic character of the way in which you use the boat. If you want to go fast, maybe do a bit of water skiing, get from point A to point B on your particular waterway very quickly, put twin V8s in it. If you wish to do that, but with a little more range and perhaps not quite as much top speed, put a single V8 in it. And if you wish to go coastal cruising, perhaps a little bit of game fishing, exploration, have virtually the coastline line of Australia at your disposal on a long-distance cruise basis, you simply power the boat with a single diesel. An excellent example of the versatility and thought that goes into Australian designs, particularly those of John Haines. We'll be back right after this break.